Hello, everyone. I'm so sorry. Please accept my apologies. I hope everything is fine and good. Sometimes Web2 is much more chaotic rather than Web3. And today, here on Magic Store, we're speaking to a very quite interesting guest to me, and hopefully for you too. Quite interesting project where you can do many things, and that comes from the Magic Store, which is earn and rewards. And I do have quite fantastic guests with me today. Hassan, hi, how are you doing? I'm so sorry for troubles happening alongside.
No worries, nothing to worry. Things like that always happen, especially in these types of situations. But everything's doing well. I'm very happy to be here. I'm glad to be able to share some more information about Earnmax, Earn, what are we doing, what are we planning, and so on. So very excited to be here.
Go to the story of the project itself, what it represents, and much more. Can you share a bit of personal story? Because Free right now has been kind of packed with beautiful minds and people who have been in the space for a while. More and more and often, I meet people who have been here for a year, 2, 3, 5, 10, 11 years, and so on and so on. So we can keep counting as mass adoption happening. What is your story?
Well, I mean, as everybody, or as a lot of people, I joined the space a few years ago through different ways. I used to run a digital marketing agency. We were in the web traffic business. It was very common back in the day to be able to buy and sell different assets, digital assets like Facebook pages. Like back in the day, those were the digital assets, not like today. So a Facebook page, a YouTube channel, or an Instagram account, for example, those were some of the products that I used to buy or create and also sell. There were a few platforms like a marketplaces back in the day that normally they were allowing users to trade these pages in exchange of like a wire transfer, for example, or like PayPal when it came around. And at some point, one of these platforms started offering something called BTC, which I didn't really knew what it was. This was probably around like 2015, 2016, something like that. So it was interesting. I started to dig a little bit deeper. I started using it for some of these transactions, but at that point, it was mostly just a means of exchange. Over time, as the space started to grow, I became a lot more interested in seeing all these things popping up. Yeah, I mean, fast forward today, this is where we are at. The space has grown quite a lot. It's been adjacent to more traditional markets, especially in the last 12 months, which is very interesting to see. And it's also affecting some of the dynamics that most people are used to in the current space. So yeah, I mean, it's very exciting to see the different changes and especially to be part of this in multiple different ways.
I really like what you covered about. Okay, two things. The first one, 2015. Oh wow! Hopefully the chat will be asking when did you actually buy your very first Bitcoin, but you don't have to answer. That's just a sort of joke aside. And the second one, that for the past 12 years we do have a quite interesting dynamic in exchange of the world. Correct? I mean, like for me back in the time 2 years ago, you can text a person any time of the day, say, hey, let's do that. And now I feel like we're more working a bit of what's schedule, like a bit of the more official tone of voice and ways, but yet the space is growing. And speaking of the space, so what is Earnmax? How it come to life? How does it look? I want to actually know everything and what you bring to the space.
That's good. So Airmax itself it's actually a lot of things mixed together into what we branded as Airmax. So there are multiple ways where we can share that from a consumer perspective. It's essentially like a subscription based on chain lottery mechanism that allows people to buy a subscription on a weekly, monthly, or annual basis and be able to participate in the price distribution for $50,000 every few months. So the main consumer aspect in this point is the ability for users to participate in a secure, transparent on-chain lottery without any risk associated to it, to earn meaningful prizes. And of course, this is the first version of this product. We launched Earnmax probably like the early beta around like 5 to 6 months ago, and of course we are growing it, and we are changing a little bit of the shape on how it feels, how it looks, what are the prizes that we are giving out. So far, we have been distributing mostly cash prizes, and we've been rewarding almost $100,000 worth of prizes to our subscribers. The product is growing in a healthy way, but we are also seeing different trends in terms of like how people engage with these types of products and where what is more relevant for them. So we are starting to delve a little bit more deeper into other types of prices, such as like consumer goods, for example, or like cars, things like that will be exciting for the audiences. Uh, in terms of the technology, it's and this is why I was saying that this is a lot of different things. Earnmax itself is built upon two big pillars, and this is most of the background technology that we built for this. We created one of the first on-chain subscription mechanisms, meaning that people can sign a couple of messages with their wallet and they will be subscribed to a product. And what it means to be subscribed to a product is basically the ability to get recurring payments without the active need. So it works in the exact same way your Netflix subscription works. So you put your credit card details and then you're paying every single month to the Netflix company. In our case, instead of running with a credit card, we are running on the blockchain. So it's a lot more transparent, it's a lot more clear. You know what you're signing. We made sure that there was a very clear experience for users to be able to input their information, sign their own message on chain, approve the transaction, and then they will be logged in into this process. So it's a very interesting piece of technology, and it definitely has a way to grow on its own. For us, Earnmax is the combination of the consumer product that I was mentioning before with the credit card model, the subscription model that I just described. So it's kind of built for one and the other, but eventually this product, the subscription mechanism, can be expanded and used into multiple other opportunities. And that's what we are going to be looking into 2026. It's a very interesting approach to bring a lot more financial infrastructure to the space.
Indeed, that's funny thing that you touched the subscription. In the funny way, I mean a bit of complicated way right now for the Web3 adoption, because we can see Web2 is full of subscription modes, but Web3 has a lack of it, and it's kind of very complicated to not only onboard the users to understand the utility of subscription and the perks of it, but also let them understand that this whole model also works in the Web3 space. So, speaking of the whole interaction that is happening on Earnmax, how do you actually balance the gamification, also interaction, and the most importantly is a meaningful engagement both for the community developers and the whole Web3 ecosystem?
That's a great question, and as some of the listeners may know, Erm itself has been involved in the engagement space for a long while. I mean, we essentially grew a consumer super app to almost 50 million users in the last couple of years, and basically the goal achieving that is to be able to engage these users towards different activities. So the gamification is just like a characteristic of building an engaged environment for these users. And for us, it's very simple. I mean, it's about giving value to the user. If you figure out a way for the user to be interested in what you have to show them, they would be willing to spend more time in it. And if you're truly good at that, to be able to pay a subscription and to be able to pay cash for being part of it. Of course, you need to align incentives. There are some other characteristics that are relevant during this process to be able to ensure that the user trusts what you're building, that the user feels comfortable with it. So there are multiple adjacent activities, but ultimately you need to align incentives. You need to make the user feel comfortable. You need to be able to host an environment for them to be able to grow into that space. That will be the very specific answer for that question.
And I really appreciate it. I mean, growing in the space is essentially very important. That's why I also want to touch a little bit of the magic store and opportunities that it brings both for the community and developers. Back in the time, you actually run through a validation process, and I'm sure magicians know that is. And also, you do have an exclusive hot offer specifically available for the Magic Store users. So I already want to also touch how actually Magic Store helps project like yours reach a wilder audience and bring the adoption too.
That's great. I mean, you guys have been very good to us, helping us reach a broader audience. In this case, your audience sitting here in the Magic Store. So for us, it's about being able to expand the offering of our services to more people, and you guys have been extremely helpful doing this. That's also why we extended a few more like friends and family type of offers to your users. So we are very happy to see the adoption coming in from those, and it's looking very very good on that end, definitely.
Thank you, and looking forward to have more out of us
for
maybe in the
sure.
future. So we actually also touched one of my favorite topics, which is gamification, right? Gamify experience and much more, which is sometimes people do think that it's one of the key options to onboard wider audience to the Web3 and to the project itself. So what's your take on the shift from play to earn, play to own, and play to experience? On which way of gamification are we right now? um, I mean, in terms of the market, are we yet on the play and experience? Of course, if you take in the current market mode, maybe we are. But in terms of the building gamification experience, when it comes to really good playable experience, where we are right now.
I think something that this space does very well is the ability to grab the initial concepts and push beyond them and push very deep into the concept behind them. Uh, Along that way, along that process, we realize what are the shortcomings of certain areas, certain narratives, certain features, and it starts to get a little bit more polished. There are projects that are doing a lot of very meaningful work to be able to bring more either clarity or more specificness or more quality to some of these visions. And I think uh, similarly to DeFi, for example, or to NFTs a few years ago, the play to earn concept has had its shortcomings. I mean, it grew very fast. It was very exciting, and then over time, it started to fall a little bit through. And then that's when other concepts started to rise. And I think it's very positive. I think it's very good to be able to expand a little bit of the line behind these types of functionalities, of products, of ideas, to be able to cater for better audiences or more engaged audience. At the end of the day, progress. This is progress, and progress is always good for the space. So I'm very happy to see initiatives like this. I think it's important to keep them coming.
Indeed. But before we actually end the session, which was very quite exploring, so if you guys haven't explored Earnmax yet, very welcome to go to Magic Store and to do so. The link is just in front of your eyes, and I think you know where to go. But speaking from the model of subscription, changing their behavior, okay, I would say, oh, right, I forgot how to, yeah, behavior. I forgot the other word. So, anyways, let me don't stop it there. Like traditions. Yeah, a small traditions. Like every day you waking up, you tweeting GM on in a Twitter, brewing some coffee, and yet, what kind of GameFi experience and fail changes are we expecting coming in 2026? And how it's going to also influence on your project development, and what do we expect next from you?
That's a very good question. I think I should answer that in multiple different time frames. Uh, Within the next, let's say, 12 to 16 months or 12 to 18 months, I expect this space to be able to keep going the same direction that it's going now. So getting a little bit more in depth into some of these offerings, making some of these experiences a lot more like close to the audience. You have different technologies that have been growing in the past, like AI agents, for example, or just the general AI line. It's very interesting to be able to approach these to users. AI is extreme customization of experiences at the end of the day, so that allows for customized experience for users. So I know, and we are very close to certain projects that are leading this area right now, and it's extremely exciting what they are building. Everything around that is going to shape the way consumers use these types of products, these types of services, and of course, at the end of the day, it's going to change the gamification and the GameFi experience. I think if you expand the line, the timeline a bit into the future, and we are talking, let's say, into the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, we also need to understand how the technology is going to converge with, like the broad technology, the consumer technology is going to converge. And, what's going on right now with the smart glasses, for example, or like the Apple Vision, that's definitely going to change the way users interact with the space, and that's appointed to games and gamification, which is extremely like one of the biggest industries in the tech world. It's definitely going to shape in that way, and the leaders are going to be those who explore this adjacent technology, and they are going to build based on a lot of uncertainty, but also a lot of trust and a lot of direction in terms of like what's going to be good and what's going to be consumed in the next few years. And I think that's very exciting. That's where our heads are into, and that's what we are paying attention to right now.
And still, What do we expect from you in upcoming 5 months and 2026? I'm really excited about the next year. So, what's your take on that?
We are very excited as well. And I think, like, again, trying to focus on what's important, trying to cut the noise out. That's very relevant. I'm not going to make any predictions or anything because those usually go bad. It's important to be adaptable and also be able to figure out how things go in certain directions. But for us, it's about improving our product, improving our audience, being able to offer more products, more services, a better experience for everybody, trying to grow this product into more interesting offers, try to give out more money as we have been doing so far, and also try to grow some of our other product initiatives. We recently launched a layer 2 solution, which is right now sitting at the top 5 most transacted blockchain in the space, which is very interesting. We're generating about 25 to 30,000 transactions per day for those, and everything comes through our set of communities and engaged audiences. So those are the two things that we are going to like focus on in the next few months, and hopefully we'll be able to see some great results coming in from that.
Indeed, looking forward for the future because I think it's bright and it's bright for those who do not sleep but still building. Thank you so much, Guston, for joining us today and looking forward, maybe speaking to you in 2026, seeing how the progress has taken you. And of course, let this building journey be bright and full of magic.
For sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you indeed. Have a great day, everyone.